Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and you know what? This ain't like your daddy's Poppy Playtime video. I'm sure there's been plenty of creators out there that have made absolutely banger playthroughs of Poppy's Playtime. Now the reason I'm interested in this is twofold. I like to look at video gaming like controversy, especially on the internet like this, because I really like to witness, stories when things kind of just blow up in your face like this. The other thing is, I played Poppy's Playtime. Now I played the original version. I bought it for like $5 on Steam when you had to pay for it, but we'll get to that in a bit. And last I remembered, it was an okay game. There were a few puzzles, they had a cool chase sequence. I think the animation on Huggy Wuggy was pretty epic. And from all I've seen, Chapter 2 is a little bit longer. The animation is a little bit better. They got a new sort of pink Huggy Wuggy creature. And while the name is escaping me, one thing that isn't escaping me is the fact that the game is now $10 for about an hour of gameplay. Yes, there was once in a point where Poppy's Playtime was $5. It's currently free to play. Now you pay $10 for about an hour of gameplay, hour and a half. To which my question is, why not somebody just buy Deus Ex? I mean, clearly it's cheaper and you get way more hours of gameplay. That said though, joke aside, let's actually dive into the monetization. Now, Poppy's Playtime controversy comes in multiple fold. Over the last couple days, basically they released Chapter 2, and I heard about this actual release when I was out in Las Vegas. So I went out for the weekend for a vacation. In the middle of it, this whole thing released, and instead of really focusing on the game, I was really looking at why there was so much negative attention, why there was so much controversy sparking up on what is a kid's game. Now, I don't really care about the quality of a horror game like this. I kind of put it up there with like the likes of Five Nights at Freddy's, something like Granny, if you will, on the iPhone, fucking Baldi's Basics. A game for like kids, okay? Poppy's Playtime for me is like a horror game designed for children, okay, and selling merch. I just played Fatal Frame, Silent Hill 2. That's like eating A5 Wagyu beef, okay? Games like Poppy's Playtime and FNAF are like drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon. Nothing wrong with that, but I need a while before I can process PBR in my mouth after having greatness. Now, to understand, there was some idea that maybe if you bought the game earlier on, the pricing would stay relatively consistent. Now, of course, people who paid $5 recently for this game and probably have less than an hour playtime can actually probably refund it and get their $5 back and continue to play the game as a free-to-play title. Now, of course, Poppy's Playtime Chapter 2 released, which was $11.49, a considerable mark up from the last release. Now, granted, you got an hour of gameplay here, but then again, I just told you about Deus Ex Game of the Year Edition. It is literally not even a competition. However, Poppy's Playtime Chapter 2 came out, and of course it charged money, and there were a few people who I think were rightfully a little bit pissed about that. That doesn't mean that Poppy's Playtime is free on the phone. No, they're going to make you pay $3 for this one. Why $3? Because let me tell you, most of the kiddos have iPhones, iPads, okay? Mommy gave them an iPad, daddy gave them an iPad. They're going to be playing Poppy's Playtime, and if you can extract a little bit of cash out of that, why the hell not? Now, Poppy's Playtime, when it first came out, was basically a 30-minute, if that, walking simulator that basically served as, in my opinion, a nice little tech demo for more to come. Well, ever since that, after releasing 30 minutes, I might have seen the most blatant amount of monetization for anything imaginable. Now, of course, this involved numerous merch lineups, okay, to the point where you can actually tell that this is basically a horror game designed for kids, because instead of just focusing on the game aspect of it, because let's be real, this ain't no Silent Hill 2. The actual focus point, at least from what it seems when we're looking into this, is more so focused around merchandising the various characters for all the kiddos involved, okay? So for one, they had the U2s, okay? Now, I know that I shit on Funko Pops, Funky Pops. Sorry, I missaid that. And if you think I'm buying a U2s, hell no. This is dropping May 10th, about 2 days ago from time of filming. Now, of course, Poppy's Playtime over here actually straight up tells you can buy these for $30 USD. You can buy a Huggy Wuggy, a Poppy, and you can even buy the old player. I'm surprised they didn't make that T-pose, for crying out loud. Again, they did a partnership with U2s. I'm sure they can't renege on this. Now, of course, they even had a merch lineup as well, too. A little bit expensive, if you will. Of course, just for Chapter 2, they even got a bunch of plushies ready. So they got a $30 Huggy Wuggy closed mouth plush pre-order. And then, of course, they got the Kissy Missy closed mouth pre-order for $30. Now, again, corporate, I want you to spot the difference, because let me tell you right now, this shit is straight up recolor. Then they also got the Mommy Longlegs, which I assume is the new sort of chase character. Plush pre-order for $40. Yeah, boys, we're selling $40 plushies. Of course, they've also got t-shirts like the Huggy Wuggy Smile Ringer tee for $25. Then if you want the tie-dye shit, that's $30. Then they got all these other things for $30. They even got a color block hoodie for $55. God damn, this is expensive even for like kids merch. We all know adults might not be buying this, but kids are begging mommy to get this shit. Oh, you want the enamel pin set? $20. Do you want... Man, this is off a $30 tech demo. Jesus Christ, I've never seen merchandising this. I don't even think Activision's been doing this for Call of Duty, and that shit is like a cash cow money magnet. Here you can get like posters, like $20 posters, Jesus. And of course, you know they had to slap the sample all over it so like nobody would download these and like make their own. No, you're giving the $20. You're paying $20 for this. Again, it's merch. It is what it is. I'm not going to jump too hard into it. That said, though, they've also actually got a movie deal. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Poppy Playtime, a 30-minute tech demo, is working with Studio 71 to develop a horror film based on the video game. The first installment of Poppy Playtime was released by Mob Games in October of 2021. In the game, a former employee of Playtime Co. receives a cryptic message on a VHS tape. The tape prompts him to visit an abandoned Playtime toy factory following the mysterious disappearance of their entire staff, which happened 10 years prior. From that point forward, the goal of the game is to explore the factories by solving various puzzles. Yeah, we're using that plural pretty liberally, because I think there were like maybe 2, while avoiding terrifying enemies. Enemy. Let's try that one. In order to uncover the mystery of what happened to the missing staff. So again, ladies and gentlemen, Studio 71, who they're working with, is fast-tracking the project and is already out to filmmakers to create the story in the Poppy Playtime universe. Yeah, I mean, with a 30-minute tech demo... Whew, okay, well, don't have a lot of source material to work with, but I believe in you. Now, what was most egregious was the NFT lineup from Poppy Playtime. Now, if you're in the video gaming sphere, introducing NFTs, it's kind of like sticking the Glock in your mouth and letting that shit rip full auto, okay? It's definitely not something you want to do, definitely not enjoyable, and it can be sometimes pretty difficult to revert from. But here are the Poppy Playtime NFTs. Now, what's really interesting is I tied some lore to this, but I'll get to it in a second. We're the new kids on the block in the indie horror scene, and making a big splash. Fans have been quick to connect with Chapter 1 of Poppy Playtime, and we're working tirelessly to give them Chapter 2. We also want to keep our audience engaged in the meantime, and with that in mind, we're proud to present our first line of digital collectibles, alongside the opportunity to own a piece of the game that's been horrifying fans across the world. Yeah, and then here you've got the actual NFTs, and they have in fact been selling. These were originally starting at around 5,000 pieces remaining, and you can actually keep buying them. They're limited pieces, again, digital goods being rare. Shocker. But of course, they've got about like 6 NFT series, and if you click on any of these NFT series, you can actually see that they have videos attached to them. So there are actually some elements of there are actually some elements of lore attached to this. I don't know how much, because I ain't burning $15 for a Poppy Playtime NFT. Remember, Deus Ex exists, okay? For the price of all of this, I could buy Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which is a far better use of my time than this. I know that I'm shilling Deus Ex a lot, but there's a reason for that. It's better. Is there anybody actually like pimping this out though? Is there actually anybody like selling this amongst each other? No, they're just buying it. So with the total of 30,000 NFTs, they basically release this lineup. Now again, going back to the idea of tying lore to the entire franchise, to the NFT series, to limited artificial digital goods, is not exactly intelligent. First of all, okay, it burns goodwill with the company, and anybody that wanted to look at this lore and they had like 2 brain cells to rub together would just wait until any of the NFT video would just get leaked onto like, you know, a videos hosting service somewhere else, like Bilibili.com or fucking Douyin, like Dailymotion, okay? Or Reddit, if you will. Nobody who actually wanted to really look into lore would have bought the NFT, okay? You literally shot yourself in the foot by doing this. Now, of course, the NFT stuff was so bad out of the monetization, even the company had to respond specifically to that, which we'll read it right now. So this comes from Mob Game CEO, the actual, you know, developers of Poppy Playtime, Zach Belanger. Now, of course, I hope I pronounced that right, by the way, Zach, but here he says, regarding the Poppy Playtime NFTs, I wanted to say that we regret making them. We regret the way that we tied lore to the NFTs themselves. And above all, that we're sorry. At the time, many companies that we admire were creating NFTs. Who? Who? Wait a minute. Wait. Who? I want to know that. All right, who? What did you play? Ubisoft Ghost Recon Breakpoint and you thought that was a good idea? They got fisted for that, homie. That wasn't a good idea. At the time, many companies, we were excited about the opportunity to grow our company to invest more into the projects and artists. Just say you wanted to make money. I have more respect when you just wanted blatant cash. If you can just say you wanted to cash grab, more respect. In regards to hiding Poppy Playtime lore behind NFTs as a paywall, that was not our intention whatsoever. Okay. We thought about this as nothing but a bonus or addition to our fans who did buy the NFTs. Also, the lore in question was ultimately just Mommy Longlegs is coming, so nothing really that important. Which, as you all know by now, was something that was planned to be revealed to everyone regardless of whether or not they bought the NFTs. Man, you just made the people buying your NFTs look even more stupider than you could imagine. We would never want to do anything to hurt our relationship with the fans anyway forward. I mean, good process of a company. Near the launch of the NFT, several employees expressed concern towards starting an NFT collection, due to the same concerns that our fans have. So again, they're talking about the idea of, the environmental impact of NFTs, which they said they use Polygon, which uses less than 0.1% of the energy required by the other various blockchain technologies. And again, they also said that they had a legal binding contract with the other companies so that they were unable to actually remove these NFTs at this moment in time. Now, that said, if you did spend money, they're going to donate all of it to the Clean Air Task Force. So yeah, I guess there you go. That's the response to the NFT section right there. Why would you let it happen as a company? Have you seen it? Why? Okay, why is corporate so detached? Now, hold on. I think this accurately just covers the monetization controversy of what is a 20 to 30 minute long tech demo, okay? Now, personally, if you ask me, I think it's a little gross out there to just be monetizing this hard. But then again, I'm not surprised. Poppy's Playtime is not something that's trying to change the world of horror games out there. This is obviously designed to be YouTube bait. All right, people play it. Tons of the kids around the cafeteria table are going to be talking to each other. Did you play Poppy's Playtime? Oh, hell yeah, I played it. No one played them. They all watched the YouTubers. But this is just a game made for kids, okay? It's a horror game designed for children, and obviously for those games, there's going to be a lot of merch attached. To specifically criticize the Poppy's Playtime developers would mean that I would have to start criticizing most of the other developers who do this kind of shit. Now, I like to think that a lot of the people behind some of the bigger like horror game franchises for kids probably do monetization, maybe not this excessively, but I think this is like a general industry standard for, just this type of game. Not saying that that's okay in any capacity, but yeah, that's about the egregious nature of their monetization principles. However, why I'm not going so hard is what comes now, because at this point, some actual really serious controversy kicked between a minor developer, somebody young, and the people involved with the production of this game. So let's get into that. Now, one user known as Ecker Coaster, who back in October 2021 posted this thread, and this didn't get traction until very recently. In fact, I just noticed this like a few days ago. The recent games that have been blowing up, Poppy's Playtime, stole my game Venge's Story. So again, this person claims to have made a game, and Poppy's Playtime had stolen it from them. Now, the game Venge in this question is right over here by Ecker Coaster. And again, if you look at it, it's obviously got kind of a similar vibe to Poppy's Playtime, at least part one. It's a standard horror game that has you like basically roaming around this abandoned facility. So let's get back to the thread. The idea of exploring an abandoned building is not unique. In my game, the massive entertainment company Rotnik is at the top of the entertainment industry, when one day the entire building and everyone inside mysteriously vanishes into thin air. So again, I just want to say this one for the fact, okay? Venge is almost similar to games like Bendy and the Ink Machine, okay? And that game is kind of, honestly, the concept alone of abandoned locations and exploring them and a bit of horror tossed into it isn't so unique. I would go as far as to say even games like Portal and Portal 2 kind of fit the same vibe in my opinion. This is not an overly unique concept, But let's go further. The foundation is uncannily similar to Poppy's. My game came out in 2020. It's been in development since 2017. The spin on it makes Venge unique. Below are two descriptions. They are almost identical. Looks like a high schooler terribly plagiarizing for an essay. So again, this is from the Poppy's game description. Welcome to Playtime Co. Playtime Co. is once the king of the toy manufacturing industry until everyone inside the factory one day disappeared in the thin air. Now, years later, you must explore the abandoned factory and uncover the truth. So again, if we look into Venge's game description, in an effort to win some money, you decide to explore a once magnificent movie studio that vanished into thin air a few years back. After a terrible fall, you find yourself trapped in a haunted, abandoned world of Rotnik Entertainment. After stumbling around, you suddenly wake the spirits and get transported to their world. Their world is different than ours. Very different. I feel like these are very, very generic. Like, the Poppy's game description is incredibly generic, okay? You go into this abandoned place, people disappeared in thin air, now you gotta explore and get the truth. This is a bit more verbose, but again, I just think the general game descriptions are not as unique as you would think. Again, it's like the Bendy and the Ink Machine. It's like various other games of this nature, but again, I will say, yeah, it kind of like has some correlation. I think the connection between this developer and the developers of Poppy Playtime in their past speaks more volumes. And volumes indeed. Listen, if Ecker Coaster and the developers for Poppy's Playtime really had no connection to each other, they didn't have this estranged relationship that, we're going to look into, then I would have looked at this as a generic horror game, and another generic horror game. But because of this connection, one can't help but feel that there is a little bit more to the story beyond just this. And there is, and I'm going to let Ecker Coaster get into it. If a random person made Poppy, it would be a bit different. The developers are Enchanted Mob and Zamination. They've had a history of bullying me within the animation community and trying to take me down. You can read about that here. So this takes us to a Google Doc, which is not terribly long, but it is definitely incredibly hard to read, in my opinion. It definitely covers a lot of things regarding mental health and just people in their minor states. Not exactly at the best of points. So it is no secret that while my quality has increased over the years, my mental health has not. And there are many reasons for that, but one of the massive reasons is this. I was bullied and made fun of by the other big animators for at least a year in my face. Ever since then, it has been behind my back. I haven't ever proved my case, but now that I am in this new era, I am finally ready to open up about why I am the way I am. The entire thing is split into two pieces. The way I was treated by them and the way they ran Animation Sins. Animation Sins being a YouTube channel that's kind of like Cinema Sins, where they basically take like animation videos and just, criticize them, just like they do Cinema Sins or Gaming Sins or whatever. It's one of those styles of videos. Now, I arrived on the scene a while ago. I was a fan of theirs, and I remember freaking out when I found out that they knew about me. Enchanted Mob mostly. My young self did what anybody would do, and I would try my best to be just like them. My characters look similar, I use the same songs as him. It was all out of love, and I wanted to be just like him. However, the treatment I got back was less than ideal. I was called a copy, and I was forced to change my style, song choice, and more. I am glad that happened. I developed my own style, that's fine. This is what the public knows. Behind the scenes, there was a little more than that. I will admit back then, I hadn't found myself. I hadn't found a style that worked for me. I would copy a lot. Never intentionally, of course, but I was influenced by a lot of things. I tried to be just like them. I looked up to them. I hope that as I grow better, I can distance myself from that. Now again, this person being a young individual, I'm sure a lot of people who started YouTube at a very young age probably had their inspirations. And of course, there's going to be a few bits of copying that happens from that. I'm not going to judge the person against that, okay? I think early in my YouTube life, watching enough AVGN and a few other gaming channels, you could probably find a few videos that had a lot of similarities, and there was a style that definitely, I wouldn't say that I was trying to emulate, but it was just something that like happened because that's how I knew how to make a YouTube video, and that's how I kind of went with it. Anyways, it moves on to the manager and company. The first place I can think of that started it all, I was live streaming and I got a DM from Enchanted Mob's manager. He asked a few things and asked to join a call with him and Seth so they could discuss a business proposal. So again, here you actually got like the names of like the CEO of Poppy's Playtime and Ecker Coaster, who is the person in question writing this doc. Now, to understand what's really important about the situation is understanding the fractured history between Ecker Coaster and the developers of Poppy's Playtime and the runners of the various YouTube channels. Now, again, the plagiarism argument wouldn't stand super strong if there wasn't this history behind it. Obviously, these people know each other, meaning that if there are similarities in products, it stands out a bit more than it usually would because, again, these people know each other. It's not like they're random groups that haven't encountered one another, for years on end. Let's actually look at when things begin to sour down between Ecker Coaster and the Belanger brothers, who are the creators of Poppy's Playtime. Now, of course, then this is some mistreatment. So where one person, like Zach in this case, straight up sets a meeting, right? Hey, in about 20 minutes, you want to talk. That still work. 20 minutes, I might still be live. And the stream then. Haha. Okay. Are you about ready? Almost. Like 15 minutes. I can, but this meeting is more important than your stream. Please keep that in mind. Okay. 1 hour streams are normally plenty long. So of course you can imagine this scene, this text right here. This meeting is more important than your stream. Bit dickish to sound, but now, one thing to understand is obviously the entire conversation begins at this point, and I can't really see any text messages earlier, but the way that this is written makes me believe that some time was set for this meeting, and I understand that it's dickish if somebody's going to tell you that, hey, end your stream then. Very unprofessional. I mean, again, I believe both parties were minors, so professionalism was not established in their repertoire. That said, though, if you do set a time, I think you just show up at the time that you set, okay? It's just professional behavior regardless. That said, the other party doesn't have to be dickish about it, just remind, and that's pretty much what it is. That's how the adult world works, okay? But I imagine that these parties both at the time, from what I believe, are minors, and professionalism, again, doesn't seem to be completely established. Not excusing anything, but that's just how it appears to me. I also say that both sides are minors because of an actual apology post made by Seth Belanger, one of the CCOs of Mob Games, who claimed we were also minors at the time. I myself had just turned 17 years old in regards to, what we're about to read coming up. So again, both sides claim to be under the age of 18. So again, that's why I say professionalism. I'm not excusing anything. I'm just saying it seems neither of these parties were fully grown adults at the time. And I guess they were, at least Mob Games was operating a company at this point. So anyways, this is where he doesn't have evidence, but claims that during a call, they said that he should join 3A Display, and that he would never be successful unless I joined. And I was told that I'd never be able to afford things, like a car. I don't have any proof of this. It was a call, and I never thought to record it. So again, because there's not enough proof, I'm not going to get into this aspect of it. But again, for me, in the industry that I've seen, this doesn't seem totally unreasonable, but that's all I'm going to leave out to it. Because there's no proof, there's no call recording, there's no messages, I don't really like to jump into these things unless there's like a hard line proof out of there, okay? Now anyways, the next thing that they said was they wanted to be friends with me, and I was super excited. It was a group with all of my favorite animators, Enchanted Mob, his manager, a lot of others who are not involved. I remember being at a hot tub when they added me. It was a Friday, I think. They posted a lot of memes, and I thought it was great. That Sunday, I was getting ready for the day, and I decided to do a little bit of digging. I searched my name and found them making fun of me. The biggest one was when they used my little face emoji from the Discord server and put a gun emoji directly facing it. Then they laughed about it. They made fun of my broken monitor and my most recent animation. I was 15 and immature, and I didn't know what to do. So they have some of the screenshots for it where they took like his avatar and put like a pistol next to it. And then of course, Coaster said, "Is that supposed to be funny?" It was a joke, lol. So again, even in some other cases, I know it's hard to read this because it's so small. One guy was like, "Hey, sorry, matey nines, Ecker Coaster is back in business." And of course, like they started looking at like a broken monitor. And of course, Coaster's like, "Really? I've been digging and I found a lot more." To which one of them was like, "Hey, I mean, I'll be honest, when you first started making FNAF videos, we were all kind of annoyed with you." To which Coaster's like, "I don't find this funny at all. Knowing this is happening, I'm going to keep digging." 3 months later, they started talking badly about me in public. I bring it up to him. He did end up apologizing at the end, but that is proof that they knew that they were talking badly about me. So again, not too well, I keep getting these strange messages, but some are really starting to bug me, like this one, to which one of the messages was, like, "Enchanted manager, Ecker Coaster is trash. He needs to quit animating." Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, people were ranting before. Sure, but you said it. I thought you were just going to stay away from each other. I thought we were just going to stay away from each other. Let me just say, I'm not mad at all. I haven't said anything since. I just want to clear everything up. So I've kept true at least. Sure, that was a joke, by the way. So what's on your mind regarding me? Oh, sure. It looks horrible without context, and I'm sorry. It really does. But I have context. I got sent the whole screenshot, and it still looks horrible. So again, it really gets to the point where there's like a lot of this gossip on the Discord server that never got cleaned up. Like, it seems like they had a server where they just kept inviting animators. They decided to like goof on some of the other animators, shit on them a little bit, and not clear those logs out of Discord before inviting said person they crapped on, which again always ends badly. Now, of course, the next time where Ecker Coaster got really miffed about it was when they started sending him a video. So, hey, we finished our video. So they sent him this, like, Bendy and the Ink Machine music video, like some song, to which, it's like, what do you think about it? Seth said it was one of his best yet, to which Ecker's like, that was so cool. How many scenes did it have? It looked like most of it took place in the same set. I just noticed the outro looked very familiar. To which Zach's like, what do you mean familiar? Have you seen the outro? Yeah, Plain Truth by Gunnar Olsen, right? We always love that song, been listening to it for years. How come it only appears in this animation? It felt appropriate somehow, hee. Yeah, sure, I'm not convinced. What are you trying to get at? What do you mean? It was just a song we liked. Oh, I do know it very well. I've been using it as my outro for 2 years. Oh, really? Must be a coincidence, hee. Surely you've seen my animations before. Which one? You told me you watched them all. Most of them, yeah, then you've heard that outro before. I don't watch outros, I click off the video as soon as it's over. But if it is there, you must have copied us. What kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! Reverse card shit is this? Ecker Coaster says, ... I've used it since my second animation, which is unlisted. Wait, how could I have copied you? I swear you're playing dumb right now. So again, he links this YouTube video right here, which is completely unlisted from Ecker Coaster's actual main channel from November 2016, okay? 2 years later, they are saying, I copied them. Notice the lies are already visible. What are you trying to do? You literally told me you thought of the video knowing it would make me mad, which it hasn't. We're not trying to make you mad. We didn't know you used it. Hee. What? Dude, why would you use that's pissing me off, and I'm not even getting, like, condescended at. You don't think we're copying you, do you? No, you're too good for that. Oh, well, good then. Why are you upset? You're trying to make me upset. No, I'm not. We like that song. It's going to be our outro from now on. Everyone in my Discord is agreeing with me. 9-year-olds, who cares? You should stop using our song though. Seriously, it's ridiculous. It actually kind of is. And beyond ridiculousness, it's just straight up being an asshole. Now again, from what I understand, both these parties are obviously minors, but you can't think if you're running a corporation or a company or whatever, about being in the media business or making video games and then being an asshole like this to anybody else. I wish I had just some more, context to these screenshots, but from what I'm reading, I feel bad for Ecker. Like, he's being treated really poorly. Like, this is just an asshole being an asshole. You cannot look good being an asshole, and I don't understand being an asshole. Eventually, that'll get leaked out anyways. So just don't be an asshole from the beginning. I'm getting pissed off reading all the hee-hees and condescension, and I'm not even the one being targeted to. Now, of course, he let the conversation be for a month, stopped talking to him, and then he gets this. Stop being mean to Enchanted Mom. I told him not to do that Sins video. The animation Sins video. They actually covered one of his animations, and he didn't want that to happen. To which, first you copy our intro song, now this. Facepalm, facepalm, facepalm. Hee, which one of your videos do you want them to sin next? Maybe none of them, please? We were thinking Fun Time Dance Floor, maybe. Then all the baby story stuff, asking you a question is not targeting. I did unsubscribe though, just being honest. I can see Seth's screen like, lol, what are you trying to do? I really don't care. Just please leave me alone. I was 15 at the time. I didn't know how to properly deal with things. Yeah, a 15-year-old on the internet, especially when they're on YouTube, communicated to people who are this is just sad. It's such an immature conversation. You don't treat anybody like this, okay? Like a 15-year-old, and I believe even the person behind this was a minor at the time too. So it's just really two minors that are actually having this discussion. It's just As a near 30-year-old man, it hurts to read. Now, of course, when it comes to animation sins, and I know we're getting into a lot of it, here's the real important piece. I don't support animation sins in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe their approach to criticism is helpful to the creators. As a creator, I know firsthand how damaging it can be. They've pushed me into horrible places that I never want to be again. That does not mean I hate criticism. I love it. I just don't like criticism that has layers of bullying and harassment attached to it. That is fair. I've been saying for years, and I've asked them to stop, but they've told me that I can't ask them to and stuff. Now I'm ready to defend my statement and back it up. Now, there's nuance to this entire situation whenever you're doing critique videos on the internet, and I think one of the more important factors is, obviously at the time, Coaster is a minor, communicating that he does not want his content reviewed to. Now, I think when it comes to a minor on a platform, like, you shouldn't go into the critiquing that hard anyways, or just in general, because it is a minor, it is somebody that's under the age of 18. And, if they're uploading cringy things or, bad takes, they're still minors at the end of the day, right? Like, if you're an adult and you're doing it, that's just straight up creepy. Now, again, obviously, we're allowed to critique each other on this platform. It's kind of how it works. But if somebody is going through some serious mental health issues and your critique isn't exactly meant to be constructive, more so meant to be sinning on the other individual or calling out sins, if you will, if that's the only point of critique that you have, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to take a step back, at least ethically, when somebody is straight up telling you that they feel like they're being harassed or bullied, especially with your specific brand of critique. Again, I know there's nuance to the situation, but when you hear somebody under the age of 18 going through a mental health crisis because of this, it's definitely time to switch the gear down or all the way into fucking reverse at that point. Animation Sins is run by a lot of the same people who were mean to me and stuff, and I truly believe they were targeting me in the videos, and then sinning my videos was done to hurt me. They knew I hated it, and they did it anyways. I've had many people say that they are harsher on me. I haven't watched most of them. I don't watch them. I hate the waves of hate I would get. People telling me to stop, people telling me how much sins I have, or how much I deserve, etc. It gets too much, and it's very overwhelming. I had asked them to stop many times. They said no. They only stop when I did something that I never want to remember. Something I did when I was dumb and stupid and I was clouded in the head that I couldn't see past things. The hate built up so bad that I felt like life wasn't worth living anymore. Just don't sin the content from people who are... Stop that, okay? Like, if somebody just straight up says many times, hey, stop reviewing my content, okay? I don't like the... Jesus Christ. Maybe it comes across hypocritical because I cover some really degenerate people on the internet, but it always comes out of a place of archival and like critique. And again, it's never like, hey, I made one video, call it a day. We can't just go with like 10, 15 videos in a row and keep it continuing. It's just, I don't know. It's tough to read this kind of shit when this is written. It's actually making me mad. So again, there's a lot of back and forth that happened between multiple Discord servers. And if you're really that interested and invested in that specific angle, this Google Doc is out there for read, just for everybody out there. Now, of course, at the end of it is why I've been dealing with this thing for a long time. You can see the attacks on my face go for about a year and then they stop. From then on, all the attacks were in private. They would just talk smack about me behind my back, and I'm confident they still do it today. There are huge YouTubers who are acting like this. I was a huge fan of them. I worry that they are doing this to other people who can't speak up. I am risking a lot going after someone as big as them. I learned a lot, and I've learned I need to stand up for myself, even if no one does. I don't want them canceled or hated on. My server will not drag anything. My server and my fans will not hurt anybody. I'm doing this to tell my story. I'm doing this to show how much it hurts when you leave things be. So again, this is something that, like, I assume both parties have moved on from. Both parties have gotten older. And of course, there is an apology given by the actual Mob Game Studios development team, specifically their CEOs. I also want to say in Coaster's case, he really does come across as the very mature one. Definitely somebody that's shown a lot of personal growth in this situation. Instead of letting this beat them down, they've instead decided to go onto the platform and push harder and continue to stay on instead of being completely, negated off the platform, if you will. And I think that maturity definitely needs to be commended. So again, here regarding Ethan or Coaster, I wanted to clarify a few things. There have been rumors that the idea for Poppy's playtime was plagiarized by Coaster's game Venge. This is false. So here in the apology, they said the channel would periodically make videos on animations made by the YouTuber Coaster. So here they straight up talk about past drama that did not involve a large majority of Poppy's Playtime team. So again, for that last drama that we just went into, that whole Google Doc, back in 2017, the creators of Zamination and Enchanted Mob YouTube's channel created a channel called Animation Sins, which was a parody of Cinema Sins, you get it. The channel would periodically make videos on animations made by YouTuber Ecker Coaster. Ecker Coaster did not want his videos sinned and requested the Animation Sins team stop making videos about his animations. For a while, Animation Sins stopped making videos on Ecker Coaster's animations, but eventually ended up making another one with a heavier focus on the positive aspects of his animation. This was not a good decision, as Ethan has previously asked the Sins team to stop making videos based on his content entirely. After the video released, Ethan was rightfully very upset and told his fans the Animation Sins was bullying him. Everyone who was part of Animation Sins, myself, Seth, Mike, and Zach, realized after that it was wrong to go against Ethan's wishes to no longer make videos on his content, and we removed all the Animation Sins videos based around his content. However, Ethan cut off communication and refused to respond to any apologies. After he cut off communications, not knowing any other way to reach him, the Animation Sins team discontinued the entire channel. Okay, so yeah, you can actually look at the Animation Sins team. They actually lost 5 million views in like a day or two ago. That's typically a sign that they just deleted a fuck ton of videos. So I can't really go back and see the glaring positivity in some of the sins in these myself. Now, not only did they straight up admit that they were sinning, it brings me back to this, absolute, Now, not only did they admit that they were sinning in that apology, but it rubs me the wrong way, because the more and more that I read this in post-editing, this, like, comment thread, which, again, I can't completely say it's real, it's an allegation, because unless I refresh these myself from Discord server, I tend not to, like, hard put myself into any hole. So, again, if I look at these alleged screenshots leaked, you can see that we were thinking fun time dance floor maybe, then all the baby story stuff, asking you a question is not targeting, lol. It just comes across malicious. I have severe doubts on the nice, maybe you were being really positive and you're sinning for this content creator. This itself just comes across so passive aggressive and douchey to me that I really look at the apology as a whole and look at it more as of like, less of an apology, more of like a corporate, yeah, we fucked up. Explain why. I want you to specifically reference some of these messages. Either straight up deny that they exist or give an explanation to what the fuck you were doing at the time. You owe more than just an apology, in my opinion, okay? This is a little bit beyond, just, hey, we deleted all the content, the sinning wasn't as bad. Like this, reading this over and over again pains me the more and more I get into it. And it makes the apology that Mob Games put out just hollow, in my opinion, of course. It's hollow to me when I read these, okay? I'd like that company to at least specifically address this shit. Obviously, they admitted that they were told not to make the content. They didn't want the sins to be delivered to this one user. And they still made the videos. It was wrong. Jesus Christ. Years later, in October of 2021, Poppy Playtime was released, and Ethan, who made his own game a few years back, accused the Playtime team of stealing his game idea. The accusation was based on the assumption that the creators of the animation Sins were attempting to create a game to spite him. This is absolutely absurd. Our entire team spent months developing Poppy Playtime out of passion, not spite. While the creators of Animation Sins were definitely in the wrong for continuing to make videos based on Ethan's content years ago, that does not justify accusing the whole development team of creating Poppy's Playtime to spite one person. Well, again, let me just explain one thing, okay? Clearly, if you look into the actual thing right here, the thread never ended, the story isn't the only thing. Additionally, a lot of the characters resemble my own, as seen below. Mob and Zam are massive YouTube creators with enormous audiences and a wide reach. So if you actually look into these situations, all right, this is their character design. This is Huggy Wuggy, and this is his character designs. I'm gonna say right now that these are incredibly fucking similar to one another, okay? All right, like this alone right here, very, very, very similar. Like, Jesus Christ. Like here in this one, they've got their character cutouts, and then they've got character cutouts over here. This, I'm going to say, is just like generic animal, like kid stuff. But I will go back and say that these are this is incredibly similar, okay? This is like This is just like, this is like corporate identify the difference between the two pictures. They are almost the same. Now, I know that I'm somebody that likes to give the benefit of the doubt a lot, and it does show up negatively sometimes when I do critique things, right? Like, especially when I'm covering crypto or really anything that requires a it requires more than just a simple deft touch. And I don't want it to come across like some, fence sitting, if you will. It really is that the internet is such a vast place, and the game idea initially is such I want to say, it starts off being very generic. However, when you look at those final similarities, the closeness between the character designs, in fact, even some of the environmental designs, one thing that really does change it for me is that connection between, Ethan Eckercoaster and these the Mob Games developers. Because, if you took away the entire connection they had with the Animation Sense channel and just their past behaviors, then, one could say, it's just one game that's very similar to the other. But I find it incredibly difficult that at some point the Mob Games developers didn't actually notice that Ethan or Eckercoaster was working on a game. I know that game development is a very long and time-consuming process for indie teams, for AAA teams, but when you've got this history between two individuals on the internet, I find it really difficult that both parties aren't constantly eyeing each other or at least shadowing each other's work or content at some point. Again, there's no definitive way to prove that there's any form of malicious plagiarism at work. It really is up to the average person to believe. Again, I'm just covering this stuff. I'm not telling you whether I think it's plagiarism or not, because frankly, I just want to give you, all the facts from both sides and let you decide. Me, on a personal level, the connection between both parties really puts this into murky waters. And that's really all I got to say. Now, again, even another situation came out where Seth, in this case, the other CCO of Mob Games, wanted to address a few things in addition to it as well. So, the creator of Mob Games originally started out as friends online. They were kids at the time, and what made what were known as deep-fried memes, where we screenshot Photoshop clips from various videos, mostly our own, with high contrast colors in an ironic comedic manner in 2017-2018. So, deep-fried memes, okay? Like, I guess this is the deep-fried meme in question. What is this, r/Arab funny? It's whatever, it's 2017 humor is what it is. None of us ever recall sending those memes to Eckercoasters, right? So we were also all minors at the time. I myself had just turned 17 years old, however, some of us were even younger than him at the time, with the youngest in our friend group being 14. So yeah, they were like under 18, they were like kids at the time. The memes are completely blown out of proportion. Those deep-fried memes were the result of a few friends having fun in Photoshop a few years ago. Our intention was not to sexualize Eckercoaster's Minecraft character, we were just teenage boys trying to be funny. None of these images were made with malicious intention, and we hope those who are concerned about these images can have relief regarding the issue. We were still in high school, not a corporate boardroom. The idea that we were a company trying to bully a child is far from the truth. We'd like to move on from this and behave like adults. Additionally, there have been concerns about some of our YouTube content featuring the FNAF character, Circus Baby. The concern is the content is sexualizing a minor because the FNAF books mention that she is canonically possessed by a minor. Okay. My response is to just take a look at our content. The character is not portrayed to be a minor in our videos or in the FNAF games themselves. Our company would never do such a thing. I hope our concerns can be relieved regarding this issue. The reason I chose to speak about this is because Zach had nothing to do with them. Lastly, I would like to speak to the accusations of bad working conditions. These accusations originate from former part-time online contractors who were working with us during the early days of our company. For context, our company was focused on creating YouTube animations, which was extremely hard. We don't have much money to work with due to the nature of the business model. I will admit Zach and I were inexperienced with managing people, and I believe that today we have become a lot better. Today we're 20 happy, hardworking artists in our office, and even more online. More than anything, the single biggest thing hurting our company's morale is all this online negativity surrounding our past. So again, I wanted to give both sides of the story in this situation because frankly, that's the fair thing to do when you're covering things in a fair and balanced, objective manner, right? Now again, a lot of the censors happened in they basically used the YouTube like demonetization logo, like the yellow Dolan sign to hide the Minecraft sorry, just give me a minute. The Minecraft nudie bits, if you will. Again, this is like, I guess, 2017, 2018 teenage kid humor. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But Coaster claims that this was sent to me when I was like 15-ish, which is what they were referring to as the sexualized, give me a minute. This is like hard. This really is. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that they apparently, allegedly had sent out. That said, though, I'm going to leave it where it's at, okay? Now, I want to just end this off over here. Frankly, the apologies to be given are by Mob Crush themselves, and it's really up to Ecker or Ethan to accept them. Nobody else can do that but the individual that was, wronged in the first place. Now, again, at the end of the day, when it comes to the idea of monetization of the game and the NFTs, well, yeah, that's all, bad in general. Obviously, it's very excessive for a game that is effectively just a 30-minute tech demo with an extra hour of gameplay added on, hour and a half, if we're being liberal at best. For about $11. But really the most egregious thing is not even so much about the game. It's about this connection between the developers and another user that, claimed to be wronged in the first place. Now, again, I'm not going to give definitive stances on, if I think it's plagiarism or whatnot. I definitely believe that the ideas of these games are very generic. As somebody that's been playing independent games, especially independent horror games, I've seen this concept float around more than once or twice. But I will say it is very murky waters when you have a connection like this between the developers of Poppy's Playtime and Ethan, also known as Ecker Coaster. And honestly, some of the behavior that I've seen through whatever leaked Discord screenshots that we had, which again, since I couldn't refresh them, I'm not going to die on a hill over them either. What I've read definitely paints the Mop Crush developers in a poor light, and definitely in their apologies, it appears that they have been some admissions as to what their wrongdoings are, that they have committed some wrongdoings, and while they've apologized for it, I really am not in the position to sort of judge them. The only person that can judge an apology is the person that has been wronged, so really it's up to Ethan or Ecker Coaster, and really this is just how I want to tie off the Poppy's Playtime. It's been a wild ride going down this rabbit hole, but we're at the end. It's a dark rabbit hole, and I'm just glad that every party in here has shown some maturity, especially Ethan Ecker Coaster, who got his side of the story out, and thankfully he is not in the mental state that he was, as he described in this Google document. Now, for anybody who's following into the entire thing and you want more content on this, there are channels that have produced videos regarding the shady history of Poppy's Playtime. For instance, you can look at videos by Dags, you can look at videos by Theft King, and you can look at videos by Sheep Ram Rampage, who have made videos that have talked about the situation. Now, that said, though, I'm going to end the video off right over here. I'm not going to play Poppy's Playtime 2 because, frankly, I'm recording other horror games that I found on GameJolt, all about liminal spaces and some obscure PS1 stuff that comes out of Japan. And I found some old 4chan horror games that I kind of want to dive into. Something more my channel, vibe, if you will. For me, if you want to watch Poppy's Playtime Part 2, there's other channels out there, but I wanted to really cover on this weird history because it's been in my head, it's burrowed into me, and of course, when something happens to me like that, I gotta make a video on it, I gotta get it out of the system, and at the end of the day, I want you to really be deciding what you think about all this. Ladies and gentlemen, we covered a lot, we had a time, and I wish the best for Ecker Coaster, who as a kid has grown up in the sphere, and I hope the absolute best for his channel, his health, his mental health especially, and the games that he's producing later on. And at the same time, for the Poppy's Playtime team, while yes, there was definitely some admittance of guilt, and there were definitely a lot of mistakes these guys made in the past, because these people were minors, I really hope that both these parties can resolve their differences and hopefully mature going on forward. That said, though, this is me, Muda, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.